Hi, Leah. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Did you have an opportunity to practice some emotional literacy since we've met last time?
Yes. Now you're going to ask me what I practiced.
Yeah, just share one thing.
Um, Emotional literacy. Let's see. I'm a book person, so I think that's how I like to teach or use books. So I think that's what I was using for our class is the books, or that I shared with our teachers is some of the books that were in there. Yeah. How's that for an answer? You're asking me to think on my feet right now, and I'm not doing
well. Using a material is a great way, such as a book, for kids to learn emotional literacy.
Thank you.
What the characters are doing in the book, and just taking that minute to, talk about that really takes it from a story to social emotional literacy practice.
Wait, okay, I got something now.
You got so okay.
One of the things I really I'm challenging myself to do is really labeling children's like facial expressions and then tie them to a emotion. So for example, when they're walking in, when the kiddos or the parents drop their children off and I'm walking into their classroom, if they have a huge smile on themselves or on their face, I'll say, wow, you look really happy. You have such a big smile on your face. Or, if they're looking a little shy, they put their head down and, so I'll kind of describe what I'm seeing and then tying it to labeling it with an emotion. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So that's part of your routine at drop off. That's awesome.
Right. So really trying that, and then also kind of broadening the terms that I use. So getting away from just the the sad, mad, happy, whatever the 5 are, and trying to broaden that a little bit, depending on the age of the child too.
Yeah. So you're getting experience with doing that with all the age groups in your building.
Yes, including the adults.
Even better.
Got to teach the adults, right?
That's right. The techniques we use with the kids also work with husbands, children, coworkers, all of those things. Pyramid is great for everybody.
Okay, now it makes me want to roll down. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
It sometimes makes me want to roll down the window when I'm driving at the person next to me. Goes, wow, you look really angry. You're really honking on the horn. But I know.
Yeah, maybe not the safest. These crazy drivers. All right. Well, today we're going to be talking about regulation and anger management. And we're going to talk a little bit about one of the strategies that Pyramid has for helping children practice self-regulation and anger management, which is the Tucker Turtle technique. And we're going to talk about some different breathing techniques. So I'm excited to do some things. And then I promise I'm going to bring it back to some things you can physically do in your classroom, both for yourself as teacher self-care and for your kids. So are you ready to get started?
Yes, so excited.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here. And I am screen sharing. Okay. All right. Let's see here. All right. Do you see Tucker Turtle on your screen?
I do.
All right. So there's Tucker, and he is thinking stop, even though his body is not saying stop.
Yeah.
So controlling anger and impulses is really hard for children. For them, that anger and those impulses can interfere with relationships, with being able to problem solve, being able to move to what needs to happen next. And that, we have to help children learn how to recognize their anger, both in themselves and in others, support their learning on how to calm down, and understand that there's lots of different ways to express anger, and what are some of the appropriate ways to express anger in your environment. All righty, so this is the turtle technique. So this is the technique we want to teach the kids. So we want them to recognize that they feel angry and what happened that make them feel angry. And then that think and stop. Go into your shell and take 3 deep breaths. Think calm, coping thoughts. Come out of the shell when calm and think of a solution. So I'd like you all to get your kits. You should have. I'm going to stop sharing here for just a second. And back in person, grab your Tucker Turtle scripted story.
Oh, Kayleen?
Yeah.
I lost video for you.
Okay,
There you are.
okay.
Okay.
There we are. Okay. All right. Do you get your Tucker Turtle scripted story? And we're just going to go through kind of the stories. We talked about this technique. So the technique is recognizing that something is making you feel escalated, stopping, breathing, and then coming up with a solution. But there's a story, you know how we talked about how Leah likes to read stories with the kids and in teaching social emotional literacy, and the kids really like stories. So here's a scripted story from Pyramid. Tucker Turtle takes time to tuck and think. So grab out your scripted story. I won't make you read today, but we'll just kind of go through that. Tucker is a terrific turtle. He likes to play with his friends at Sunny Stream School. And Leah, if you weren't on vacation, I'd have you read along, but I'll read the next page for you.
Thank you.
Something happened that made Tucker really mad. This friend is saying, "You can't play with us." That makes me mad. It used to be that when Tucker got mad, he would hit, kick, or yell at his friends. His friends would get sad and scared. Tucker now knows a new way to stay calm when he gets mad. He can stop yelling and keep his hands and body to himself. Thinking, stop. He can tuck inside his shell and take 3 deep breaths to calm down. Tucker can think of a solution to solve his problem. When Tucker stops and thinks, his body is calm and he feels better. When he uses gentle touches and kind words with his friends, they feel happy and safe. The end. Goodbye. All right. So I hope you had fun reading through Tucker. Good. I got a thumbs up from Leah. Enjoy that story reading time. And in your kit also, you should have a little Tucker turtle. Some different ways that you could use Tucker. Leah, can you think of some ways you could use your turtle puppet in teaching the turtle technique?
I can use it during circle time and just kind of role playing a little bit with another puppet or a friend or my co-teacher. I can use it during centers when I start seeing something that could potentially turn into a problem, and just kind of reminding the children about Tucker Turtle before they escalate and get too high. Yeah, those are my two thoughts.
Those are great thoughts. Thanks for sharing, Leah. Yeah, I mean, puppets are great. The kids love the puppets. And I encourage you that if you don't use a lot of puppets, get Tucker out. He is just really fun to use and play with. And the kids will love him too. So really fun to use your Tucker Turtle with the kids. Or maybe, if you have a child who doesn't want to talk to you about how they feel, maybe Tucker could talk. They could have Tucker tell you instead. Is one of the thoughts I was having with Tucker too. Just lots of different ways to use your Tucker Turtle kit.
I love that idea.
Yeah, and then also we have this little turtle blanket that also to teach that tuck in to think. where you can, when we want to teach, remember we're at that hot point. So we don't want to teach up here on the curve. We teach down here. So practicing before is this cute little tucker, just a green little blanket that they can tuck in like turtle. And then you can put the blanket over the top and they can count 1, 2, 3 breaths and then pull the blanket off. So that's just another cute thing you can do to help teach the tucker turtle technique. In your kit is a poster for the classroom. So when you're teaching it, so you can refer to this. Some people might have like a safe place or your quiet area or somewhere where you might want to reference this. And there's also a set of cards of Tucker Turtle in your kit as well. Maybe some teachers want to keep them on their clipboards to support kids, but there's lots of things in your kit to help with that Tucker Turtle technique. So besides just reading the story, Leah gave us some other ideas of what we can do with teaching the Tucker Turtle technique in our classrooms. So in Tucker Turtle technique, it is, he needs to think that recognize that he's having a feeling, and then he needs to take 3 deep breaths. So we're going to take a minute just to talk about taking 3 deep breaths. Because I think that can be pretty hard when we're having very strong feelings. And so some other ways that you might be able to teach breathing. I know this is a breathing technique. And this is the dragon breathing technique. So it's kind of the same as Tucker a little bit in that we recognize that the boy gets angry and he has dragon brain. And when he has dragon brain, he needs to stop and remember, smell the flower, blow the candle. So that's one technique just for teaching the breathing piece of Tucker. Another way is, maybe you have the windmill a windmill that in your comm area or in your classroom, you can get out to teach kids the breathing out technique. That's really fun. They're not too durable, I might add. So, but that they can use this as a breathing technique, fun way. And also, oh, not that bottle. Sensory bottles are another way. I've used these little calm down choices. So maybe they don't want to breathe. Maybe they need another way to calm down. Breathing is one of the choices, but maybe that's not the choice that they want to pick. So we also have some other choices just to kind of honor children as individuals. You might think of some things like a sensory bottle. Maybe they want to calm down with a sensory bottle, or they would rather color or do some yoga. I have these great yoga pretzel cards. These are awesome. And they had yoga, but they also have breathing in them. So this is called bunny breathing. So let's practice some bunny breathing really quick. So sit in your chair and you're going to kind of bring your knees kind of up close to your body. And we're going to put our head down and then we're going to sniff 3 times as we bring our head up. And then we're going to breathe out all at once through our nose. Let your shoulders fall down. And bring your head back down. So bunny breathing might be one way to help children learn how to breathe. One of my favorites when kids are really, really angry is volcano breathing. And sometimes I need to do volcano breathing. So, and that is just kind of, you take a deep breath in. And when you have friends maybe that are just have a big feeling right then and there, volcano breathing can be a great way for them to get that out, because it's like having a temper tantrum in one big breath, or maybe you need 3. you know, it might be a 4 breather, but volcano breathe, love personally use and suggest as well. Another breathing technique sometimes is bubbles. So, and I've seen this work with 2-year-olds using the bubbles to help them calm down after, you know, when they're having a lull in that temper tantrum and they're taking a few breaths. You might want to be like, do you want to do some bubble breathing? And sometimes that can pull them out of that temper tantrum so that we can get to the next stage in Tucker Turtle. So we're going to breathe and then to start, you know, getting to a place where we can start thinking and problem solving and helping them get from here through here to that process. So I promised I would share with you also a technique for teachers. So we kind of talked about, let me go back to my screen here. Tucker Turtle, but I also, oops, didn't want to do that. To go back. Sorry. We're almost there. Okay. Eventually we're going to get to the hot button. Maybe not. Okay. We're not. So, but if you think back to your hot button activities, so we've seen that bell curve. And so what happens when the child's at the top of the bell curve and the child's behavior is one of your hot buttons and you're at the top of the bell curve? And so this is a strategy I use with teachers when I'm coaching. And so I wanted to share that with you today too. So this is my STAR technique for staff. So we're feeling escalated, we're at the top of that, we can stop. It's okay to take a minute, even if chaos is ensuing, it's okay to stop for a moment. Take some breaths, or maybe you don't feel like breathing, take a moment. It's okay to take that moment, it's okay to take some breaths. Maybe you need some volcano breaths, that's okay too. The kids will all wonder what you're doing. It might help the whole situation calm down, but take that moment, take those breaths, and then attune yourself to the situation, attune and assess. So I'm feeling escalated right now, taking some breaths to calm down. Everything seems really out of control right now. This, you know, kid is like jamming on my hot button. So we'll attune and we're going to assess that situation. And then the R is that we're going to respond. So I think what we want to do is react. So we want to kind of fall back into that mom brain that we have where we want to start recognizing negative behavior. We want to start handing out consequences. We may want to, you know, threaten with the consequence later, such as, you know, telling their parents, missing an opportunity, but we know that those things don't work. That's our mom brain trying to, you know, come forward in flight or fight response. What we want to do is respond. So try to find some positive directive or positive descriptive feedback. So everything is chaotic. I have been in a classroom where I've been like, okay, I'm starring. Your feet are on the floor. That is awesome. I really appreciate you are being safe. Your feet are on the floor. Who else's feet are on the floor? I mean, you can find something. Sometimes it might feel really hard, but you look for one thing. If one child's feet are on the floor, start there. Look for one child that's doing something great and recognize that. And soon other children will be looking for that positive descriptive feedback. So you start with 1, then maybe you get 2, then maybe you get 3, and then things start to de-escalate for both you and the children. But let's say this kiddo's still just hitting on your hot button, didn't respond to the positive descriptive feedback. And so I talked about a positive directive feedback, which is redirection strategies. So how do we keep redirection positive? And so this is what I use, and this is what we use in our center. So you just start the word I. All of the statements start with I, so just I, and then you can choose. Is somebody doing something you like? I like this. So giving that positive descriptive feedback, somebody in the classroom's doing something you like, but maybe you need to redirect this child. And so positive descriptive feedback also is saying, I see that you are standing on top of the train table. And then I wonder what work you'd like to do. So we have I see, I hear, I wonder, and then you can. Tell children what they can do instead of talk about what they can't do. So I recognize, I see you're standing on the train table. I wonder what work you might like to do. I see that there's space in science. You can go to art. You could maybe go ask your friends in blocks. There's only 2 people and there can be 3 people in blocks. Maybe you can go ask your friends in blocks if you'd like to play. I can help you. Go ask them. So this is what I call a positive directive feedback, where you're recognizing a behavior, you need to redirect that behavior, but using positive statements and telling children what they can do. Because the goal is not control, the goal is Zen. And I think that as teachers, we kind of forget that. And so these statements will help you when you're having to respond to a child who's just pushing your hot button. Try to just start something here. Any of these. I hear you screaming. I wonder. Yes, Leah.
Okay. In theory, that seems great.
Uh-huh.
Okay, my hot button is spitting.
Okay.
Like spitting at me. So can we walk through this? And because for me, if someone spits at me or a child spits at me, I'm going to need to take myself in a timeout and tap out and probably have my co-teacher come in and
That's okay.
That. Okay. Because yeah, the spitting, that's gonna set me over, and as much breathing as I can take, I'm not quite sure that this would work.
Well, you're going to still stop, right? You're recognizing that you're escalated. You know, you might need more than a breath. You might need to take a moment. Go.
I might take a lap.
you might take a long moment. Maybe you want to go, put some fresh water on your face. Maybe you need to step out for a moment. That's okay to ask for your coworker's support if you need to take a moment.
Okay.
Take a moment. It's okay. Maybe that moment is more moments, just like it might not be a 2-breath kind of problem. It might be a 3 volcano breath problem, but that's okay because we're modeling what we want the kids to do, right? So if I have to do a volcano breathing in my classroom, some of my kids can be like, wow, Miss Kayleen's doing volcano breathing. And that's okay. They're just seeing me model what they need to do when they're feeling escalated. So maybe you take a hot, long moment. That's fine. But when you come in, when you're on your moment, you need to attune and assess the situation. So I'm triggered. Spitting really is like very triggering for me. It's very disrespectful. It's gross. I just really don't like that.
So I can do that reflective process. Like that attuning is more of that reflective. Why does that bother me? I recognize that this bothers me. So that attuning can also be that reflective. But it's okay for
things to bother you. You don't have to say this shouldn't bother me. It's okay for spitting to be a trigger.
Okay.
You don't have to say, oh, I should be over this. No, spitting can be, you can say that's not okay. And I don't like people spit on me. And you do this attunement and you're assessing the situation. So now how are you going to respond to it? So you're not going to react to it. So if a child spits in my face, my reaction would be, that's very disrespectful. That is disgusting. I do not like that. So, those are the things that would come out of my mouth, which still probably should when you're ready to respond. So now it's time to respond. So you're going to go back to that child. Right. And we're assuming at this point, you're no longer at the top of the bell curve. The child's, he or she is hopefully no longer at the top either. So we're both down the curve. And now you can go and respond to that and say, instead of react to it, you can say, no, I wanted to talk to you about something really upset me. And then you can use your little statements. I like to be your friend. And I'm wondering, why you spit on me, and allow them, they probably might not say anything depending on where they're at, but, and then you can say, that how that makes you feel.
Okay, that makes sense.
What they do. So you want to kind of stop that reaction, and instead you want to take some time, take some breaths, attune, assess, and then figure out how to respond. So, and then you might think, why is this child spitting? Are they spitting on me during the same situation every day? Are they, spitting only on me? Are they spitting only on staff? Or are they spitting on kids too? So then that brings in that home behavior incident reporting system. But in the moment, you just want to not react, because when you react to a child spitting in your face, what did we just tell that child? If you spit in my face, you're going to get a reaction from me right now. So all you have to do to hit my hot button is spit in my face. So when you say something or do something the child doesn't like, or they just aren't happy, they can just dial you up, spit in your face, and they're going to get a reaction. What you want to do is stop that from being effective, because we know kids use strategies that are effective. And if it's not effective, they're going to, and you're teaching or in responding to some different strategy you're trying to teach them, that needs to be the effective strategy. So when you take away that response, and maybe you take a moment, you leave the classroom, you attune and you assess the situation, and you come back and respond. Maybe you need to do some more depositing with that child. If they're only doing it to you, then maybe you need to be, okay, am I doing, how many deposits am I making? And, can I make a withdrawal, or do I need to make some more deposits before I can make a withdrawal with this kiddo? And we need to back up, because obviously he doesn't have some other skills that maybe he needs in the social emotional or friendship skills. What do we need to go back and do? But the first step is to stop you reacting.
Okay.
And this is self-care. This is self-care for teachers. And we don't want to tell you that you can't have a trigger of children spitting in your face. Like, yes, you can definitely, that is definitely can be a trigger for you.
Thank you for that clarification, because I could get the stop and I could get the take the breaths, but I was having a hard time with the attunement and the assessment, and then the responding. So that helps. And I really like the reaction, or what was this? The redirection strategies. I think I make that.
Yeah, that is hanging in our classrooms, because all you have to do is get the I statement, the I out, and then figure out what you're going to talk about next. But the very first thing you need to say is I like, I see, I hear, I wonder. I mean, if two kids are misusing material, I wonder if you could build a rocket ship with those magnetiles. I wonder how many people would fit in your rocket ship. So wondering sometimes can be a great redirection strategy without you even having to give attention to the negative.
The negative. I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. That is the end of my presentation today. All right. So, talk me through let's stop recording and then we can talk about our essential skills.
Okay.